Hello, everyone. Welcome to our homes. This is Roger and Lou, and we'd like to have a conversation today about allowing ourselves to be seen. I'm Lou Urban. I'm a transformational coach and energy worker, concentrating primarily on releasing energy blockages for my clients. And my co-host is
Hi, I'm Roger Dawson. I'm a certified law of attraction life coach and hypnotherapist, and I also do some energy work as well. So, welcome to our homes.
we want to, as I said, we want to have a conversation about allowing ourselves to be seen, what that really means. As Roger and I were talking about this, I think the perspective that I at least come to this conversation with is that so many of us hide in our lives. We put up
Mm-hmm.
walls. We don't allow our true self to be seen. We put the facade up of what we think others want to see from us instead of
Yes,
being authentically who we are.
Mhm.
Does that make sense, Roger?
It makes total sense. And what's interesting about that is that putting up the facade, it requires so much more energy spent, which can lead to various things of exhaustion or being tired or whatever, versus just being yourself, being very authentic, and I think that people too, we're always afraid of what somebody's going to think, or they're taking the risk of being vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
and being the person who might have a piece of food stuck on their face or their hair out of place or whatever, right? But we all are who we are, and most people really aren't thinking about what you are. But I think, I know personally, I can speak from experience. I've always, oh my God, what does somebody think about me? Did I speak out of line? I need feedback type thing. So it's scary to be seen sometimes.
Absolutely, it is because the expectations are of people want people. Oh, let me say this in this way. I think that each of us thinks that the world wants us to be perfect, and so that facade we tried to build that perfect facade rather than being
Mhm.
authentic. And
Mhm.
yet, at the same time, I think each of us wants authenticity from everyone else. We want
Yeah.
someone to be authentic with us.
Right. We want what we won't give, right? Of
Exactly.
ourselves, right?
That's exactly right. Yes. Yes. So oftentimes people will, you got two people who are showing each other the facade and there's really no connection between them. Where if they were both being authentic, there'd be an automatic connection between them.
Right. Right.
So we hide behind that facade and we don't allow that connection to happen because we don't step out and be who we are.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, for me, it was really finally being okay to be vulnerable, and then finding those that I was comfortable with as a starting point to be that way with, to gain some experience, some, taking that chance and want to have you to finally kind of get there and to be vulnerable, to have these type of conversations that, hopefully will help somebody else. Because ultimately, I guarantee you, why my journey is unique to me, there's somebody that can hopefully benefit from, you know, some experiences I had, and perhaps some of the techniques I've used to kind of get past them. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you. There's a lot that I've experienced too that I hope in being able to share it with others that it benefits them too.
mhm,
You know, um, Sometimes that's the reason why we have that experience is to be able to help somebody else along the way.
absolutely.
Um, the thought that was coming up for me when you were talking was that I was curious to find out your thoughts about how we get to that place of allowing ourselves to be seen. What I think that people sometimes, yes, you pointed out the trying it out, being with people who you're comfortable with,
Mhm.
but sometimes that, to me, that takes some courage in order to even do that, to be in that space of accepting that mistakes may happen. I may, and rejection may happen, and being okay with that. Being confident in who you are rather than in the facade. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, and I believe it starts with a desire to want to want to expand that, you know. And so like for me, it was having a dream of doing X, and knowing that I had these limiting beliefs, or you know, I was afraid to be seen, you know. I had my dear mentor said, why the hell are you afraid to be seen? You're a powerful person. Go out there and explore. So and I'm like, I thought about that, and so it was, becoming along with the awareness of it, and then just truly having a desire. And just like when a toddler begins to walk, well, they crawl and then they walk, and then they're wanting to go someplace, and then they take that first step, that step of risk to
Yes.
kind of, well, they hold their balance, and guess what? Sometimes you fall down, and it's getting up and doing it again, and then eventually you're up walking, running, etc. So.
Oh, great example. Great example. I'll share too that, the majority of my life, the vast majority of my life, I'll say that I hid. I didn't allow people to see who I was. Maybe close friends might get a glimpse of it, of what I truly am, but it's only been within the last couple of years that I've even gone to that space of allowing others to see me, whether they're friends, family, acquaintances, whatever it is. And I'll say that there is an immense amount of freedom. We all talk about wanting to have greater freedom in our lives. Well, if we want to create that space of freedom, we got to create that space within ourselves first. And for me, my key to freedom is allowing myself to be seen.
Yeah, and yes, and through something that came up for me is through allowing myself to be seen, I have strengthened my relationships, not only with myself, but with others.
Absolutely.
My certainly just my mom and dad, because there's still things that, oh my God, would they, because I'm the best little boy in the world, in case you didn't know that, but if they see me for, I'm going to have my own journey in life. And certainly, that might be but that was something hard to live up to. And it was, being vulnerable to be seen that I am, I am this person. And,
yes.
And what I found is that it hasn't mattered who I am, as I've allowed myself to be authentically seen.
Mm-hmm.
My parents have thought no more, no less of me. They've embraced whatever I've come up with, and just not them, friends. It's interesting that some of the things that you mentioned around just having creating that space to be seen. I think that's also an interesting thing, and I think through the space comes the risk of being vulnerable about taking that risk of being seen.
Absolutely. And I think the other key to being seen is being okay that not everybody may like you.
Yeah. Right.
And knowing that that's all good, because the people that are supposed to be in our lives, that are supposed to be supportive and really get us and think we're so totally awesome, those are the people who are attracted to us because of who we are. And if there are people who don't get us, well, they're not supposed to be in our lives. It's okay. Go ahead, make space for those people that think I'm the best.
Yeah, I totally agree. That is so true.
And the other thing that I think I've learned along the way here is that the fear of making a mistake is really another key to this in being seen. That if we create that space that we can make mistakes, that's knowing that that's a learning experience, that's part of our growth. You can't grow unless you make mistakes.
Right. Well,
agree?
Totally agree. Right. I mean, just like I think in a previous video that you and I did, you can't get it wrong. You're always right. So this world that we live in, that there's mistakes and there's right and wrong, and you should believe in this religion versus another religion, or this political belief versus another, is there is nothing wrong. It's just whatever you believe is part of your journey that's going to help you grow and expand.
Absolutely.
And that's what we do from the time we are conceived. We grow and expand.
Mm-hmm. And so if we're going to get the most out of our time here, how are we going to get that if we're hiding behind that facade? If we
Right.
have those walls built, how are we actually going to do that?
Right. So, well, you would. So my advice is take down the walls, take the risks. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to cry as a man. It's okay to, stand on stage and hit a wrong note. You just got to do it. It's part of who you are. I mean, but because not everybody is that, well, I'll tell you what, I think anybody that is seen daily, so it's funny, the folks that go so far for being seen daily, let's just talk about a movie star, they then kind of go into hiding, because they built their brand, right, who they are. They've taken all this risk and are okay with being seen,
Yes.
what maybe acting or whatever, but they certainly had to put themselves out there. And then they get this fame and then they go back into hiding, right? They're afraid to be seen for who they really are. It's kind of an interesting little circle there. So.
Yeah. That's a great point, Roger. There is no arriving on this either. I mean, I think that, and I said that in the last couple of years, I've really allowed myself to be seen. Oh, there are some days when it's like, all I want to do is hide. It's a daily challenge. Some days are more difficult than others.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Because it's like I'm probably more seen in this universal law spiritual world and then I'm probably a little less seen at the family level and friends level, and then in corporate America, right? And so it's a different thing. I'm still kind of closeted in that, but I certainly have been able to find that, I lead people, leading with my heart, and to do things, I'm able to apply that. And I find that as I take more risk in applying being seen at a corporate level, that I am advancing my skill set, my competencies, the relationship that I have with the people who make me look good, right? And therefore, it's all working, because I think that while corporate America, is so quick to judge, as I become more and more my authentic self and am seen for who I actually am at home versus at work, it's certainly starting to calm the waters as I advance my career. Make sense?
Oh, absolutely. You bring up a wonderful point. I think that part of this being seen is also having wisdom around meeting people where they are.
Right.
If we are just our total authentic self all the time,
right.
There are people who are going to run screaming away from us. And
they would.
depending on the circumstance, there's certain things that we need to do. I agree with you. In the corporate world, I'm much less seen than I am with family and friends, than I am in the spiritual space. It's just different. And it's because I recognize that there are people who are at maybe, I don't know if this is the right word, but different awareness levels. Okay.
Very well put. Yes.
And so I don't want to overwhelm somebody either. I give them a little bit of the authentic, and then if they engage further, then I'll go further. I'll just keep being more and more authentic until that person is uncomfortable, and then I back it up. But then I know where they're at.
Right. Well, and I think that there's an element too. I think you're doing that probably because you're very present with a person, so you're able to read them on how authentic I can be. Right.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because not everybody is ready to see a spiritual healing as an example. Some people might lock you up and put you in a room, but so it's about and I think that through that expanding, right, that's why I always like to use the word expansion. We contract, expand. That's how our bodies do as we bring it in air and let it expel, right? So good stuff. Great conversation. So I mean, challenge to anybody that's watching this is to find some way to take a risk, to become vulnerable, to be seen, and then start that one grain of sand at a time, one experience of being seen for where you're at, and guess what? You won't get it wrong. You just have to have a desire to take the chance to do it, right?
Yes, absolutely. And keep on doing it. Sometimes the hardest part of the journey is the first few steps. And those first few steps may be a little rocky, but make a commitment to yourself to value yourself enough to show that authentic self to others.
Yes, agreed.
So anyway, anything else you'd like to say about this, Roger?
I'm good for now.
Okay, me too. Thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. If you'd like to know more about Roger, you can reach out to his through his website at rogerkdawson.com. And if you'd like to know more about me, you can certainly go to my website at louurban.com. Thanks again for joining us. Namaste, everyone.
Namaste.